In this movie, we'll take a look at creating our own classes and then importing them into our main FLA file. Now, we've talked about classes before when we defined the array, which is basically an instance of the array class. And what a class is basically an ActionScript file that tells what an object is and how it behaves. So let's say whenever we create a movie clip, we import the movie clip class so that we don't have to tell Flash what a movie clip is and how it must behave. We simply import the movie clip class and then we can access all the properties of the movie clip. Here we'll do a similar thing. We will create our own class, which is an ActionScript file, and then import a predefined class, let's say the movie clip class, and then extend it by adding some of our own properties that we want this class to contain. So to start off, let's open up a new project, and I'll create a simple shape, which is a circle, and then using my selection tool, which the keyboard shortcut is V, I'll double click on it, then hit F8 to convert to a symbol. It's going to be a movie clip. Let's call it symbol 1, then click OK. Now I'll give it an instance name of circle. Now what I want to do using ActionScript is to add event listeners for this circle so that whenever I hover over it, I want it to become half opaque. That is, set the transparency or the alpha property to 0.5, and then whenever I hover away from it, I want the transparency or the alpha property to return to 1. That is full opacity. One way to do this, you can go to create a new layer called Actions, and then click the first layer and open up my Actions panel, and then write my event listeners here and every code that I need. Or I can do this by creating a class, which is simply an ActionScript file, and then write all the code I need inside that class. Why do I want to do that? That sounds like a lot of work. I can simply go here, create a new layer, and add actions on it. Well, that's because when you have multiple objects on the stage, and let's say that every object on your stage needs functions of its own, then defining classes becomes handy. Then you can create a separate class for each object and place all your actions on them. And defining classes and then importing them so that they're accessible whenever you need them is a major concept in object-oriented programming. And we can use that in ActionScript because ActionScript is an object-oriented language. So let's go ahead and first save my file by going to File, Save. Then I'll place it inside my documents. I'll call it classes, and then save it. Then I'm going to create a new ActionScript file. And in ActionScript files, we can only write code. We don't have access to the timeline or the properties or the library. It's only an ActionScript file. To create a class, first you need to create a package. Everything that we're going to write in this class will be within this package. So write package, and then a set of curly braces. And first we need to create the class itself. So we write public class. I'm going to call it circle with a capital C. That's because all classes by convention begin with an uppercase letter. Just like we did when we accessed the mouse events class, we wrote mouse with a capital M, that's a lowercase o, I'm sorry, mouse with a capital M, and then event with a capital E. So by convention, all class names begin with an uppercase letter. Public class, circle. We're going to need to inherit all of the movie clip properties, since what we're doing here is adding properties to this instance of a movie clip. So in other words, we need to extend the movie clip class. So this class, which is called circle, extends movie clip with a capital M and a capital C, and then a set of curly braces. and everything that will be contained in this class will be within these set of curly braces. First, what we need to define is what's called a constructor function. And what a constructor function is the first thing that gets executed whenever this class is accessed. And the constructor function is a public function. Now, public means that this is going to be accessed by a file external to this ActionScript file. Unlike private functions, which we'll get in touch with in a moment, private functions can only be used within this package, while public classes and public functions are being accessed by files external to this ActionScript file. In this case, they're being accessed by my FLA file, which I accidentally called classes. I'll fix that later. So to create a constructor function, write public function, and the name for the public function must have the same name as the public class and same casing. That is, the name of this public function is going to be circle with an uppercase C, or else this function will not execute. And then my class will not work properly and I'm gonna have problems. So I'll copy this, paste it here. Then instead of parentheses, colon void, and then the set of braces. Now in here I'm going to add my event listeners. But I'm not going to refer to circle by writing circle dot add event listener. Instead I'm gonna write this dot add event listener. Since this class will be tagged with the circle, then whenever I write this, then I'm referring to this circle. So in this case, this refers to the circle on my stage. So this dot add event listener, open parentheses, it's going to be a mouse event dot mouse, all uppercase, underscore over. And we'll call our function over for mouse over. Semicolon. Now, since we've used the mouse events class, then we need to import this into our ActionScript file. Now, previously we didn't use to import mouse event classes. That's because it was automatically imported into our main Flash file. That doesn't necessarily have to happen when you're working with ActionScript files. And the way you import classes is simply by, and you need to import this within your package, not within your public class or your public function. And the way you do that is by typing import let me indent this. Okay, import, and then flash dot events dot mouse event, and then semicolon to end your statement. And this entire the circle itself is a movie clip, and we're extending the movie clip class. So we need to import the movie clip class. So again, import flash dot display dot movie clip. And what this naming and the dots mean is we're referring to the flash file which exists on your hard drive, and then within this file we go to the events folder, and within the events folder we go to the mouse events folder and then import that to our FLA file. Same thing with the movie clip. We go to the flash file and find the display folder, and within that we find the movie clip folder. So now we'll add another event listener to the circle. We'll just copy this, paste it here. This, referring to the circle again, add event listener mouse event dot mouse underscore out, again all uppercase, and then the function will be called out. Now we'll create the functions over and out. Those are going to be private functions because our main FLA file doesn't need to know what's going on within these functions. It only communicates so far with this function, which is circle. This function activates the private functions over and out, and then gives the result of these functions to the main FLA file. That's why this is a public function and those are private functions. So private function, it's called over. Now the event variable e colon mouse event colon void, and then the set of braces. Now this, referring to the circle again, dot alpha, which is the transparency of the circle, set this equal to 0.5, semicolon to end your statement. Now copy this code here, skip a couple of lines, paste it. We'll call this function out. Oh, I'm sorry there, this E must be an uppercase E. Mouse event. This dot alpha, set this equal to 1, or full opacity, no transparency. Now we'll save the file by going to File, Save, or hitting Ctrl S on your keyboard. And it's essential that you name your file same as you named your class and your public function, with same casing. That's in this case an uppercase C, or it won't work. The class name or your ActionScript file's name must be the same as your public function's name and your class name. And one more thing, you need to save it in the same place that you saved your main FLA file. So we'll save this. Now let's go to our main FLA file, and we need to attach this class file to our circle, and we can do that by going to the library and then find our symbol here, right click on it and hit properties. Make sure that your advanced tab is expanded, and we need to export this for ActionScript. And then the class name will write the name of the class we just created, which is circle with an uppercase C. Then hit OK. Okay, all done. Now to save it by hitting Ctrl S, and test your movie by hitting Ctrl Enter. And pretty much when I hover over it, it becomes half opaque. When I hover away from it, it becomes fully opaque. I can still create a new layer. Sorry about that. I can still create a new layer and add ActionScript on it. But now I can't write this because this file is not being attached to the circle. I need to refer to the circle by its instance name. So let's say let's give this circle an instance name. It already has an instance name of circle. So let's say I want to add a click event listener. So let's say circle dot add event listener mouse event dot click comma, and the function will be called clicked, semicolon. And for some reason my version of Flash is not automatically importing classes. Seems I have some kind of problem here, but that's okay. I'll import it myself. Import Flash dot events dot mouse event, semicolon to end your statement. Now to create the function clicked, then the event variable e colon mouse event colon void, and then our set of braces. Let's say I want it to disappear whenever I click on it. So circle dot alpha, set this equal to 0, semicolon to end your statement, control enter to test. So now when I hover over it, you can see that our defined functions in the circle class still work. Whether we have ActionScript on our file or not, this doesn't affect the class file. So if I hover over it, I click, it disappears, hover away, it comes back. Simple as that.